Well, I'm gonna go ahead and answer this because it's been on my heart, because the question again has been asked of me more than once, and of course I can see why as well. But a lot of people wonder how I do what I do, and where do I find time to do it, and where do I find time to rest. Well, it's all about time management. It's about trying to maximize the time that you have, and then try to fit it into a window. And I can tell you right now that, when you have a world, and I often say this in ministry over and over again, that is self-absorbed. They only think about self, and they only take care of themselves. It's hard for people to actually know what it means for someone to have a heart to where they actually put others before themselves. Because, man is inherently selfish by nature. And of course, it's something that has to be crucified and fought against. So, there's much to be desired and much to be learned, but you have to choose to learn it as well. I'm a man that has many, many different people that's vying for my attention, and many, many different people that's looking for my counsel, seeking my counsel, and many, many people want me to come to many different places and do many different things. And I don't mind telling you that even though I'm very busy, I have to turn down a lot. I turn down radio shows and interviews quite often, almost on a weekly basis, simply because I just simply don't have time to do it. Now, a man in my position, I need a very strong support base. That's what I need. I need someone who can actually think 2 and 3 steps ahead. And for the most part, that's what some of the people there do. Some people just don't have the influence close to me to be able to try to help me, but they do all that they can as much as they can, because, I'm constantly on the road, I'm constantly going, or I'm constantly working, I'm constantly building. So it's about being able to maximize time and do it to the best of your ability, because, we have to start thinking, what would happen to you if somebody wasn't in your life? A very important person. Where would you be at? Mother Bullock called in on the Sisters broadcast the other day, and she said, if it wasn't for this ministry, I couldn't get with these other Israelite camps that doesn't believe in the baptism of the Holy Spirit. So I'd be sitting here looking at these 4 walls. I wouldn't know what to do. And she's highly involved in this ministry and in this truth, and which we thank the Father for, because she's a wonderful mother. But the nature of this video is about political correctness. And before I go into political correctness for a second, let me finish up on this thought right here. Most people don't know what it means to have a lot to do. Because after all, for instance, you get somebody who gets up and go to work, they do their job, and then they come home. Well, to them, they're busy. And in their own right, they are busy. But when you start to turn around and think for a second, we all balk at why CEOs make a lot of money. And because nobody knows about the pressure of the position of a CEO, because his job is managing the actual corporation, the company and stuff. And of course, he has to have a very competent team with him in order to be able to accomplish a lot of tasks that he does. And if he doesn't, he just simply fires him, because he doesn't need anyone that's not going to enhance what he's doing. And that's the same way in everything in life right here, especially when, again, people are vying for your attention. Just here in the last few days, I can go in the last week or two, and most people would not understand why I can't just pick up the phone and just call them, because I have to allot time to do certain things. I can't just pick up the phone and just start talking to people and shooting the breeze, because I just simply don't have the time to do it. I just literally don't. And if you were to come into my shoes and walk in my vein just for 2 weeks, you'd pull your hair out, you quit. Because most people think they can handle it, but they can't. I'll give you an example. All right, I'm going to New York. I'm getting ready to perform a wedding. All right, and I just got finished coming from Clarksville, walking land, doing counsel, and things like that. And that's not including just a week before coming from Mississippi, and then a week before that I came from Canada, which I drove up there. And then in between all that, I have ministry to do. I have deliverance to do. I actually have the healings to do, a lot of counsel to do. So I don't have too much time to toy around and play around. So, you know, when I got home, immediately, I had a few things I have to take care of in the ministry. Regardless, it still has to be done. I had to run to the bank. I had to run to the store. And then I had to turn around and prepare and get the paperwork as well as the certificates done for the actual wedding itself. And that's not including having counsel with the couple that evening as well. And then I have to give direction on the community of what they need to do and what should be done. Then I have to give direction to the sisters that take care of the logistics of the paperwork and everything on the community, and a lot resources, funds, and different things. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And then when I get finished doing everything I need to do, because after all, you know, I have to carry books, I have to carry Bibles, I have to carry all this other stuff. I really truly do. I got a lot to do. And then when I do get an opportunity to actually jump into a shower and stuff, by the time I get there and stuff, I'm usually pretty much done with that particular juncture in time. And then from there I get dressed, and usually it ain't even no more than maybe 4 or 5 minutes after I get out of the shower, maybe 10 at most, I'm out the door ready to go. So it's about being able to allot time. So political correctness, all right? Think about this for a second. Truth is truth is truth, and wrong is wrong is wrong. And it's pretty bad that somebody can actually do wrong, and because of your political ideology and theology, you can't acknowledge the wrong that they're doing. People do this in philosophies, they do this in doctrines, they do this in ideologies, and they do it a lot in theologies. When you adopt a position, it's almost virtually impossible for you to even think about functioning outside of the scope of that position when you've already done taken a strong stance. And so no amount of truth that is presented to you would ever be strong enough to change your mind, no matter what. And no amount of facts is ever going to change your mind once you take a position. I'll give you an example. Over in Britain, they have a lot of Pakistanis that are actually raping white girls over in Britain. Now, rape in itself flat out is wrong. And of course, what the news media, through their political correctness, is not telling you is what I'm going to tell you. Is that, see, these Pakistanis are going up to these white women and said, you are a whore. You look like a whore, you dress like a whore, you act like a whore. And then they rape them. Because remember, people are looking for asylum. People are, you've got a bunch of refugees that are flowing into Britain right now, and they're by massive numbers. And when you flow all these refugees in there, you actually going to do what? Change the culture. And so now, because people, for the fear of racism, they don't want to identify this guy as a Pakistani that's raping a white Britain woman. You see what I'm talking about? I don't care what color the woman is. I don't care what color the man is. If a man and a woman is doing something and it's wrong, out the window with political correctness, it is flat out wrong. I'll give you another example of political correctness. All right? Even on the right ring, on the right side, the so-called conservative side, one of the big issues that they have is they don't like undocumented workers coming over here taking up all the jobs here in this country. And of course, when I hear stuff like that, you're not going to hear on Fox News some of the things that I would talk about, because when they're in descending mode. They don't have nothing that you can call into and rebut what they're saying or refute what they're saying. But you think about this for a second. The biggest deal, we don't like these illegal immigrants because we don't like all these undocumented workers coming over here sucking off our economy and they're literally just destroying our lives, and we the taxpayers have to pay for and fund their lifestyle. All right. Well, think about this. This is the same country that stole people from their land, and they came over here on the bottom of ships, undocumented. And there was never one plea or one cry about an undocumented worker during the time of the transatlantic slave trade or slavery in this country. As a matter of fact, they fought hard to make sure that they continue to keep the oppression and keep slavery up. They did. And most people think that Lincoln freed the slaves when he didn't care one bit about the slaves. Again, when you know history and you hear these people talking, you can see the hypocrisy, and you can see that people really truly don't function after truth at all. It's just sad. So it takes someone who be able, who can articulate and who can rebut these things. And let's deal with the heart of the issue of the matter. Let's deal with that, because, if somebody can't embrace truth, you just found out what type of man or woman they are.